Alright, what's up, people of YouTube? This is actually a video response to MadBadVoodoo, but something I was going to cover anyways. Basically, just how much money goes into politics. The way I look at it is there's a problem when a congressional candidate, senator candidate, any candidate spends a ridiculous amount of money to get into a job. It basically doesn't pay as much. Let me get the exact numbers up here. I'm going to get the exact numbers up here to basically give you an idea of what goes on. The House of Representatives appears to be $174,000 a year. In my local congressional race, the candidate, both candidates have, the one candidate, he hasn't spent quite that much. I'm thinking he's spent about 80. The other candidate has spent about $1.7 million so far on his election run. And the way I look at it is, there has to be other motives to spend that much money and run for a seat that pays nowhere near that in 2 years. That has to be a way. In my opinion, they're using that as a way to step up into basically more money. I'm against that. I mean, I've worked 2 congressional campaigns, and each candidate basically made the money that he fundraised themselves, and it was nowhere near that amount. My one candidate, maybe, I think I looked it up, he had $8,000 he ran on, and he got about 30% of the vote. The other candidate worked on, he had a little more, but that was all fundraising money. He earned that by going and talking to people and getting people to donate money towards his campaign. The candidate who I mentioned had $1.7 million. That's out of his own personal money. The money he's taken in through donations, I think, goes almost to $2.5 million. But I do really think there is a problem with money in politics. I agree with you 100%, MadBadVoodoo. I think the other issue, too, is, and this is something I'd like to get some opinions on, and hopefully you can give me your opinion on this, is how much money should there be a limit to how much a candidate should spend? What limits is there for their money? Because there's a couple ways campaign money works. You have your hard money, which that comes directly, that money goes directly to a candidate. And then you have your soft money. And what soft money is it's money that political action committees, things like that, can spend on behalf of the candidate, pretty much. Like, the candidate does not have direct control of the money, but let's say Ford supports a candidate and they have a private jet. They can donate, they can basically say, we'll let you fly on a private jet. Or let's say the Hilton hotel chain says, hey, we'll rent you these ballrooms for free and you can hold events in our ballrooms. That's what's considered soft money, and there's no limit to soft money. For example, I've been hearing about it a lot lately, is the SEC Citizens United versus the FEC. And basically what that is, a lot of people say, oh, now companies and everything can donate as much money as they want. That's not true. Well, I mean, it is true. They can via soft money, but what the Citizens United versus the FEC really was about was stopping, it now allows the use of soft money to buy campaign ads 60 days before a primary election, political ads, things like that. And that's for corporations, though. Candidates, I think that's a little different. That comes from the McCain-Feingold Act. That's a completely different backstory. Really don't want to get into that too much. But basically, though, there is a big problem with money in politics. There is something wrong when you spend $2.5 million to run for a seat that pays $174,000 a year. But where should this money come from? I've heard a couple different arguments. Like I said, I'd like to get some input on this from anybody who watches this. One argument I've heard is, excuse me, I have bronchitis. So, but the one argument I've heard is it would come out of taxpayers' dollars versus directly, like a candidate cannot take contributions from a company at all, soft money or hard money. It has to only come from a set amount from taxpayers' dollars, maybe like $20,000, which the only way I look at that is we pay for it either way. If we buy something from a corporation, our money goes towards campaign funds. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it may, that's one I'm kind of iffy on. Other things, I mean, my basic idea behind it is they are limited to $20,000 or a set amount that's not $2.7 million, maybe even $200,000, limited it there. But basically just limit it and don't allow soft money, don't let all these other companies and stuff buy, let people rent jets. It all has to come out of their money, and maybe we'll get actual candidates who really want to work for the people instead of work for possibly bettering their own positions, getting more money, getting connections with lobbying, you know, things like that. But I'd really like to get some input on it, and hopefully I've kind of made you think a little bit. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a good night.